Hello, everyone. My name is Tom Denford. I'm co-founder and CEO of ID Comms. Welcome to another episode of Media Snack Meets. My special guest this week is Jill Kelly, the CEO of EssenceMediacom US. Hey, guys.
Hello, gentlemen.
Where are you? There you are.
Welcome to Media Snack Meets, where we get to meet the individuals and organizations doing great work to inspire success and drive change through the global media and marketing industry. Because the best are short on time, we ask just 6 questions in 15 minutes. We get to learn what is behind the success, what it takes to make change in the industry, and what the rest of us can learn from that experience. Please subscribe to get alerts of all upcoming guest episodes.
Hello, Jill.
Hello, Tom. Very good to be here. Good to see you.
Well, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. Very excited. I was complimenting you backstage on the beautiful room that you've got. You've put our other guests to shame. So I'm normally dealing with people with rather drab, dreary kind of office background. So thank you for raising the game.
Yeah, no worries. I deliberately chose not to use a filter for us because I knew you would appreciate the background and the backdrop.
You know it. I love it. Okay, good. So you know the format. We ask 6 questions in 15 minutes or less, and Media Snack Meets looks to find individuals and organizations really driving change and doing exciting things in media and marketing. So we'll start off, for those that maybe don't know you, what do you do, and in your role or roles like yours, what have you learned is key to the success in that role?
So for Jill Kelly, I'm the U.S. CEO of EssenceMediacom. So that is my role on paper. Although I think maybe my mom is the only one who really cares about my title. What's more important is what I bring, which is what do I stand for as related to the role that I have, and I would distill it to just 2 things. It is a championship for our culture. And it is a true business partner to our clients.
And what do you? I mean, in an agency leadership role, I know I speak to, as you know, agency leaders all the time. I'm always amazed with how far and wide you have to spread yourself. And I appreciate the simplicity of that. Those focus on those 2 levers, right? If you get those right, then you're succeeding. But what does it take to be, for those that might want to one day be an agency CEO, what does it take to be successful in that role? So it's a high pressure role with a lot of scrutiny.
Yeah. Well, I think there are a couple of things. I came from the CMO role at Group M, and I moved into the CEO role of the business just about a year ago. And they're very different. They're very different accountabilities. My accountability that drives my priority is really on clients who pay us, the people who do the brilliant work for clients, and the culture that is driving great work and an environment to drive great work. So as simple as this sounds, it's really about brutal prioritization about where you spend your money and where you spend your time. And it's clients, the people, and the people who do the work.
Very good. I like that. We can all learn something from that. So good. So I know you're very passionate about media, as a lot of our guests are, but I know you're especially passionate about media. So what is it for you? Maybe apart from the client, I mean, we get excited about clients. You get and you have some wonderful people that you've and teams that you've developed there. What is the best thing about working in media? Why does it keep you excited? And also tell us something in media that you're most proud of. Maybe something that you've done in the past.
Yeah, I think I think that first the definition of media has changed considerably. I think the format within media environments has changed considerably. We have a basic hypothesis at EssenceMediacom, which is people aren't hard to reach; they're just hard to reach with traditional ads. And when I think about the landscape of the different kinds of experience and ad formats that are available in the market today and still to be available in the market, the kind of just the general palette of creativity in just pure ad formats and the different kind of pieces to create experiences for brands with consumers, it's just so incredibly vast and some days overwhelming. But it's the media practitioner and the professional that helps kind of stitch together all the different kind of pixels to create something really, really unique. One of the most exciting things about media is it's actually not just in terms of delivery and distribution, right? There may have been a time when it was specific about asset distribution. These are kind of spaces and places upon which certain things reside. Yep. Now it's really about, we're moving from asset distribution or content distribution to content orchestration. And the orchestration and the palette and the canvas that we have that's called media is far beyond what was the traditional formats that we've seen, even as recently as 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Yeah, good. And what when you look back, what's a piece of work or a project you were involved in, or a company that you've been involved in, where that you look back to and you're most proud of?
Yeah, I will say this is something, there's a piece of work, it was for Google Pixel. Google Pixel, it was based on this insight. It was based on this insight that 80% of the video capturing software is designed for lighter skins. Meanwhile, less than 15%, maybe 17% of the world's population are light-skinned. And this pixel technology that was brought in, that Google had introduced into the market just about a year ago, was based on that particular insight that the video technology, capturing technology, is very limiting because of the way that it was created. Yeah. And the insight is that the majority of the world's population is brown and darker skinned. And this is an incredible insight as related to how the population makeup and composition is driving features and products. Yeah. I think that's really, really exciting.
Yeah, very good. I like that. Right. So let's think about the industry. I mean, leading a major media agency, as I said, you can get spread thin, but you also get exposure to a lot of the industry from that very privileged position. So, when you're talking to your clients, what is it? What are the challenges that typically you focus on, and what do you see as big challenges for us as an industry that we have to tackle together?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things. First, the forever question of where does brand and performance nest together? Where is really the collapsing of the funnel? A CMO recently said to me, Jill, the battle is not on the brand marketing side. The battle is actually not in the performance media side. The battle is right in the middle where those two things overlap. And how does the top drive the bottom? And candidly, how does the bottom drive the top? So that's and especially from a measurement and metrics perspective. So that is a big topic, and it continues to be a big topic. The second is, again, the talent makeup. What is the modern talent makeup for my team? We have some teams that are moving from what used to be heavier, I'll say more traditional linear investment, to more biddable audience-based buying. It requires a different kind of disposition. It requires a performance-based, wholly optimized type of brain and outcome. So there is a talent composition that's happening right now across all the teams. It doesn't matter if you sit on the brand side, if you sit on the agency side as well. And the other is just candidly DE&I and how the population composition in America is dramatically changing. This, Tom, well, in that the 2020 census data validated by the year 2045, for the first time in American history, there's a new majority that's going to be ethnically diverse. So that means all of the Gen Zs, all of the alphas some of whom aren't even born yet, are going to comprise the new majority population in America. It'll be the first time in history that will happen, and that's irreversible. So think about what the invitation of that kind of new composition, that new majority proposes for brands and messaging, and candidly what it stands for in the marketplace. I think those are the population change, the talent composition, and what is the role and nesting of what has historically been discrete between brand and performance. Yeah,
very good. So some big meaty challenges there, and all significant things for a CMO to really ponder, because they are going to be influences on how they behave as brands in the future. Really good.
Yeah, it also forces looking out 5 years, 10 years, 15 years out. We have some, there's some brands where their core customer is, is aging out, or is not necessarily going to be the growth of the future of the organizations. So what I'm hearing a lot from our partners, from our client partners, is not about next year. Obviously, imminent performance is obviously continues to be critical, but we're talking about 5 years out. We're talking 10 years out.
Yeah. There's real category change then, isn't it, for things we've got? We share some clients as well, but really thinking about how that category changes based on a very different generation and their makeup for their priorities. In terms of advice, I want to ask you, and I'm always interested in anyone that's leading a team or leading a company, just leadership advice. Some of these things are very valuable. And what I'm looking for is maybe something that you were told or given years ago that you still carry with you that's meaningful, or maybe something that you use, maybe the same thing you use with your teams that you find is really effective in terms of leadership.
There are two things that I've carried with me for probably 15 years, and they're very practical. These are not necessarily going to stun you, but I think they're very practical. The first is, no matter what position you're in, whether you have a C title, whether you are at a mid-manager level, there's a lot of things that kind of burden on our brains. And we worry. We tend to worry about what is next. So one of the best pieces of advice I received is, Jill, give yourself permission to worry, but time box it. So on a Friday afternoon, if you're worried about that 11 o'clock big presentation or pitch that is happening on Monday, give yourself permission to worry about it, but start worrying about it at 4 o'clock on Sunday. Yeah. And it's kind of interesting when you frame it that way. You're not being punished for worrying, because we can't stop ourselves, but it actually gives ourselves the relief that, yes, it's okay to worry, but put it in a space and time. And you kind of think about your Saturday morning walk with your 10-year-old differently. You tend to be more present as a result of it. So that's just kind of a little practical piece of advice that I've always loved. I think the second one is, again, very practical, is if you have a terrible 9 o'clock meeting, reset and don't let your 10 o'clock meeting know about it. So as a leader, you're constantly resetting, because what happens is once you start with the 9 o'clock, whatever that thing looks like, you tend to carry that burden throughout the day. And you tend to, your shoulders get a little bit lower, your mind gets a little bit fuller, your mouth starts to frown a little bit. But being able to mentally train yourself to reset almost every hour, I think is actually a really good exercise, and it puts out a different energy to the teams as well.
Yeah, I love those. I love getting these pieces of advice. I thought people will be saying the same things every week that I when I ask this question, but it's so diverse. I'm really tempted. I think we might write a book about like best leadership advice from leaders in media, because there's some classics, and not I haven't heard these before. They're all articulated in different ways. Cool. Thank you for sharing, Jill. I appreciate that. Okay, so moving on down to the last two questions. So firstly, before we start thinking big about the future, tell us a little bit about, Jill, outside of media, what do you do? I mean, you're restoring your beautiful brownstone building there. I mean, that's clearly a project that was complete. Looks very good. It must be completed by now. But what else do you do away from media, which can be very frenetic and very hard to switch away from? Where would we find you relaxing, doing something else?
So one of my in self-care is very important, especially in the context of the climate that we're operating. So I am a weekend kitchen warrior. I will spend 3 to 4 hours easily preparing a meal for my family. So on a Saturday evening, all screens are shut off at 5 o'clock. I put on something ridiculous that doesn't require a lot of brain power, just as a little bit of noise, and I set to creating something. Oftentimes as leaders, we don't always have the ability during a work construct to actually create something. So meal preparation, the nourishment factor of it, and there's an end state. When it hits the table, that's your end state. So that moment is my moment to actually create and nourish my family, and it's a time for me to kind of go inside my brain a little bit and just focus on a single thing and a single outcome. And when it hits the table, it's done. Yeah. So there's a finality to it as well.
Yeah, I love that. I do something similar, and I hear that from others. I mean, that actually cooking is quite a common way of leaders to just kind of wind down a little bit. I think my theory is that it's just a give over of control, isn't it? Because it's like you're following a recipe, but you have to do things in a certain way, and you have to follow either your own instructions or a good book's instructions.
Yes,
and slave somebody else's process, right? And you just have to be as creative as you can be, and you're free to do what you want. I think it's quite liberating.
That's why baking is not very good for me, because it's so prescriptive. You really do have to be very prescriptive. And the other component that I like about preparation and meals is that it has to be timed well. So your proteins to your side dishes to your sauces, everything has to be timed well, because they all have to be assembled and served at the same time. Yeah, very good. And you get applause at the end, as well. There's, we love feedback, right? Because we're all desperate for, again, recognition from our family as they get older. It's harder and harder, isn't it? Great, lovely. Thanks for sharing that. So we've talked about some of the challenges. I mean, the things that you've seen in your career and in your role now, leading a large media organization. Jumping ahead a year from now, Jill, what would you like to see? What change would you like to see in the industry? Where would you like us to be 12 months from now, in a better place as an industry? What could we do? I think there are two things that come to immediate mind. The first is my hope is that the composition of our industry accurately reflects the composition of the people in our markets. We still have a pretty significant distance to go on that front. Diversity is not a check mark. Diversity is business, and I still believe we have some places to go, some distance to go on that front. So that's number one. The second is, and I this is probably not new, but I'd like to see how AI can really help in terms of enterprise productivity and redefining an output of, certainly from an agency perspective, but also from a work output and perspective, creativity as well. So, responsible use of AI, of course. So between use of technology in terms of instigating, creating an environment for speedy creativity, and also, accurately reflecting the population that we get to serve in the United States.
Very good. Jill Kelly, CEO, EssenceMediacom US. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Tom.
Who would you like to meet on future episodes? Please let us know in the comments below. Subscribe to the Media Snack channel, where you will also find previous guests, including leading marketing executives from companies like P&G, Uber, LVMH, Mars, IKEA, and many more. Plus, some of the industry's most provocative thought leaders, such as Belinda Smith, Sir Martin Sorrell, Wendy Clark, Gary Vaynerchuk, and Professor Mark Ritson. You can also get alerts to hear about upcoming new guests. If you liked this episode and think someone else would, then please share it. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.